Alrighty, I'm gonna maybe do about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. I think what we're gonna do is start working on this left lower area, this big leaf. Really, I think the first thing we just need to do is draw this border of it right here. And we'll just use the dark green pencil and just kind of follow along all the way to the left edge of the drawing. So we're starting, I have to zoom in a bit just to make it a little easier to not get lost. Starting about right here. It just comes across. And obviously, once again, for the millionth time, this does not need to be perfect. Coming across this square, and it kind of curves this way. Then kind of comes right over here. Comes up a little bit. Certainly not just a straight line, it kind of has a little bit of character to it. And right here, kind of comes up. Right here. Then it comes right here. Right. Oh, let's just kind of make sure we're not screwing up. Okay. Even though, honestly, so by the way, in case it's not obvious, we're doing the lower border right now. Now I've lost my spot. Okay, we're right here. Okay. Coming across. Comes up to about halfway on this one. Kind of curves up a little bit. Let's kind of go to the left and then come back to the right. I think all this is in there. It's not completely as visible as what we've been doing, but that's okay. 1, 2. 10. Okay, we're going to 10, starting right up here. Okay. across. So I'm sure you can tell, even though if you were to go off the grid, it's not important in the grand scheme, doesn't really matter, but if you discover it later, then it becomes important. But it's not like you can't make modifications to what you got. Okay, let's see. This one comes down to about right here. And then curves this way. I don't know what it is about this hand rest I've made, but you almost get used to it. It's like it's the way you want to hold your hand. You don't want to rest it on the paper. Okay, coming down about halfway here. Let's see, where were we? And then it just kind of comes. Comes down and then just joins up right here. Alright. So that more or less proves that we kind of stayed on the grid. Not that it was that big of a question, but it's got this sort of nice wavy lower border, and then this top part. Not sure I want to mess with the top part right now. I think kind of feel like just filling all this in. But like I said before, this is going to be tricky, and it's going to take excessive amounts of drawing in lines just to give these darker senses of stripes that we're going to want. Now I will say this, down here, in the lower left, there is this kind of demarcation here. Let's start from the left and move to the right, even though it's kind of difficult. Okay, so we'll just kind of draw this line in. It's almost kind of like a straight line. Right there. And we'll really just figure out where it's gonna end up. Ends up 1, 2, 3. Right here. Ends up in that 6 square. And just kind of join it together. I'm assuming that follow the grid line a little bit, but you know, in a situation like this, it really doesn't matter that much. As long as it looks like a natural line. Okay. Alright, so now, I would say the first thing we want to do is put in these more prominent stripes, and each one of them kind of has a double layer. So we'll start with this one right here, and we'll just come down. It's going to be soft, it's going to be subtle. starting right here, about halfway, come down. It's getting harder to reach what I'm doing and hold this down at the same time. Okay. Well, let's make that the top one. Let's go a little lower and have a bottom one too. Okay. Cross down to about here. Go about right there. Now about halfway to this. And then it kind of straightens up, kind of like this. And then continues kind of like this. Let's see here. We're going to here. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to similar about right here. Definitely kind of screwed that up. Let's make that a little thinner. Okay. And then honestly, it kind of disappears. So we probably don't need to keep going. So let's give it a double layer and just kind of follow it. Nice and light, subtle. Probably getting some shadows. Really should have suspended one of these lights from the ceiling, but that would have been a lot of work. Just follow this along. All right, now I think next one we should do, we should start right here, follow these two, then this one, then that one, and then all the rest are just gonna kind of be drawn in. We're gonna kind of draw a shade in the green and then just kind of very subtly create these stripes. But we're not gonna really make that big of a deal about it. It's so annoying that this is such a large area on the picture. It makes it hard because I want them in there, but it's not gonna be easy to do. Okay, this kind of comes down to about right here. Starting right in this corner, this sort of subtle. Okay. And then kind of split. So we're gonna do 2. Bring this down. Okay, and then to here. And it kind of curves down. Comes down here. And then about right here. Alright, and then it kind of had split. So let's give it kind of a double. Very subtle double. And it stays close to the other one. This is probably closest I ever get to drawing a big sketch before I do an entire thing. Yeah, this is gonna be tricky for sure. I think we're gonna get lost in the details. I'm probably gonna regret it. Okay, let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay, starting here. Kind of right here, actually, we've got these other ones. Comes down to about right there. It goes down to there. Into here. And then to there. Now, same thing over here. Give it a double layer to it. Let's go ahead and just try it. Let's try to put a few of these that are very subtle in here. If we don't do it, we're gonna want to do it later and we're not gonna know where they were, and I hate to say it, I do like following the grid for whatever reason. It just is handicap, I guess. Okay. There's one here. Kind of goes right here. It just kind of comes down. It kind of has a double layer too. Over here, got got this one right here. Comes down to about there. Comes up from here. Alright, let's see. Alright, so obviously there's a lot more subtle sort of yellow. I think I know what we're gonna do. We're just going to fill this in with the right colors. And then we're going to draw in the yellows. I've done this before. You can get yellow streaks in this pretty good. I do want to figure out where these things are. Kind of want to know. Okay, let's see. I'm having trouble with the glare on my computer. Let's see. One. Alright, so 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 9. Okay, right here. So we've got these kind of smudgy black areas we're going to kind of just draw in real lightly. Well, I wouldn't say light, but we're not, you know, we're just kind of got these things we want to kind of account for. This one kind of goes like this. Kind of up here. And kind of just goes up along the corners. And then here kind of flattens out. Ends up right there. And this one, kind of same thing. Okay. And then down here. Okay. And a lot of this is going to look mostly black anyway. There's a real subtle area up in here. We'll kind of smudge that in just a little bit. Okay. And obviously we're going to have a ton of black over here. And alright. But we know that this is kind of where we stop being really dark and putting in the lighter green color. Okay, let us first put in maybe up here, kind of up here, dark green background, maybe starting about here. Kind of just put this in, push into these smudgy areas. But when I'm done with this, I'm gonna get rid of the grid lines, even though, I mean, I don't really need to get rid of them. I could just leave them. And we want to kind of come up in here. Over here, it's so black that it's almost not really, you know, you could just make it completely black and get away with it, I think. And we might do that, although we didn't technically do that down here. Let's go ahead and put this in. I think we're going to want to overlay almost all of this green with the lighter colored greens we've been using. Or that light greenish yellow one. My favorite one that keeps trying to run out. Alright, let's just put this in. Now let's kind of come over here. It kind of stays a little green. And then it just down here it's really black, so we can put some of this in like this. Is this a sharp edge? Yeah, kind of, but we can make it sharp with the black. Okay, let's just come in here and just put in some of this green. It's not going to be that important because the black is going to overtake almost all of it. And that's fine. I think I'm going to smudge in the green and then put some yellow on top of it before I add any black, just to solidify color in the background. Yeah, there's just all these nice little stripes in there. We're just gonna kind of draw in sort of parallel. You kind of get a sense of what parallel is following these lines. Okay, let's vacuum that mess we just made. Okay, let's just smudge all this in because we want to cover the background. Remember, white, I mean, you just absolutely, if you could, and you have to be more or less magic to do it, but if you can cover every single bit of white in the background, that's your best case scenario. It's not easy to do, even with smooth paper. But anyway. Okay. So then up here is when we're gonna kind of want to put. Well, let's just put a little bit of the lighter colors on these just few little areas out here that are a little further from the dark. It's just so dark over here, it's not worth, we don't need to overlay that much green with yellow when it's just gonna all turn black. A little bit in here. All right, let's vacuum that. A lot of dust. My guess is that it's just more or less impossible to do anything like this without having a vacuum cleaner. I don't know how it's possible to draw without a vacuum. Alright, so this kind of down in here is just all more or less solid black. So we'll just fill this in and then smudge it in. Make it match over here. Alright, let's do that. And one thing to know, black does not smudge nearly, it's never quite as free smudging as you think. I mean, you might have noticed, it's kind of, those little areas I drew on the paper stay darker than the other areas. But anyway, Alright, let's see here. Kind of got this area right in here. Kind of comes off of here. We kind of want to make that a little dark. Now let's just come in here with the black. And obviously we're going to have to add black to this. We want this spot to be darker. Something you probably notice, yeah, so it really stays dark up until about here, and then it lightens up pretty good. Right here, it's almost pitch black. All right, now let's work on this a little more. Really do need to make this down here just really black. Make sure we get a lot of chalk on there. Probably should vacuum that. The good news is that we're doing something that's going to cover a lot of area. You can actually feel like you're accomplishing something on a picture without taking 1,000 years to do just one little spot. Alright, now let's go ahead right here and kind of brighten up these sort of greenish bands. Let's just try to use this chalk and see what that does. I don't really know. Kind of just give it a little more brightness and cover up the white. Because the thing is, if it's not completely black, it needs some other color to fill in, and that's what you need the green for. But the problem is when you smudge it, it likes to reveal the white underneath. Alright, let's get all this black. Alright, let's try something here. Let's just see. It's actually not terrible. Let's vacuum all this and see what we got. Need to be a little darker on this side. Okay, let's go ahead and just add a little more black to this sort of ribbon of darkness. Kind of give it a little more accentuation. There's actually this kind of another one right here, but yeah. Do need to be careful when you start spinning black all around. You can kind of screw things up. But I think kind of just use this. It's all really kind of dark anyway, so you kind of need to smudge it all in. So look, we'll come back. I think we've got some sort of starting point here. I think we'll draw in these sort of brighter things. I mean, I'd hate to just take all these colors and just go at it and completely cover this. But I feel like it's gonna come to that, and we're just gonna have to draw in some of these yellowish streaks and darker streaks in as we go. But right now I need to go pick up my kid, so we'll stop for now.